Relentless Entertainment presents Bandcamp Fridays, weekly album reviews.
Welcome back to another episode of Bandcamp Fridays, where every week I save you a little of your precious time and tell you what you should listen to or what you shouldn't listen to. Who knows, maybe you'll find you have the same taste in metal that I do, or the exact opposite and hate everything I like. And if you like deathcore, that's probably going to be the case. So first up this week we have Wintersun, Time 2. Came out in August of 2024. And they hail from Helsinki, Finland. Featuring Timu Mahtisaari, who's currently playing with Megadeth. I would describe the overall feel of this album as not being dark or brutal, and therefore devoid of any emotion or type of feeling. The opening track, Fields of Snow, has an electronic intro that actually sounds pretty gay, and I don't like it, because I don't have fucking robot ears. The kick drum sounds amazing, it packs lots of click, and the snare sounds nice and punchy. I suspect a lot of samples have been used, and it has computer as an instrument on the album. Every snare hit is too perfect. They have a drummer, but what's the point if you grit all the feeling out of the drums? Guitar tone is nice and crisp, and the solos sound huge. The scream he has is the best part of the album, but I don't like his folk metal singing. The Way of the Fire has a brief acoustic intro that sounds like it came from the Renaissance Fair, till finally getting some distortion with a triumphant keyboard melody. A weird Dragon Force guitar solo. There's lots of fancy guitar playing and ominous clouds, and it's just that. Fancy guitar playing with rain in the background that takes you into a storm, which is the most enjoyable part of the album so far for me. This reminds me of folk and power metal had an annoying little kid together. I give this album a 4. I didn't enjoy it at all, but I'm not a fan of power metal. Maybe because it's 5:30 a.m., I have a fucking headache, and this didn't fit my mood at all. But then again, I don't think this will ever fit my mood. That's why I'm turning it off. Yeah, I didn't listen to the whole thing. Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan. Next up, we have Ancients. Beyond the Reach of the Sun came out in August of 2024, and they hail from Vancouver, British Columbia. I wonder if Vancouver or Canada has a pretty good metal scene. They've been having a few bands that seem kind of cool. After winning a Juno in 2016, Ancients were officially anointed as the guiding lights for progressive metal. However, keeping their momentum rocking and rolling proved to be no easy feat. For too long, metalheads feared these mighty Canadians had gone dormant. The road was threatened by many shadowy twists and turns, but after 8 years of hermetic silence, Ancients have returned with a new lineup and a new album that now stands as their heaviest and most heartfelt offering. Is that true? I'm gonna tell you right now. I described the overall feel of the album as progressive and haunting. For the opening track, Forbidden Sanctuary, at 8 minutes, starts off slow and soft before coming in with some hair metal distortion and bright sounding guitars and laid back singing. Oh wow, they're picking up the speed and get a little thrashy with some growls before bringing it back down into a part reminiscent of To Tame a Land from Iron Maiden. I didn't expect this and am excited to see what they have in store for us. The kick is front and center, nice and solid sounding with a good, warm, and articulate snare. The guitars have several different tones, fitting each part perfectly. I wonder how many amps were used in the recording. The vocalist is Michael Agerfeld #2, so be warned. Lots of doubled vocals, clean singing, and growling. Despoiled has some cool guitar playing and indulges their heaviness more on this track than the opener. It has lots of dynamics between heaviness, darkness, and clean sounding guitar parts. So far, there's been a lot of technical guitar playing and intricate riffs and guitar solos, but the song structures have remained the same. But in Melt the Crown, they get a little trippy. Celestial Tyrant has a cool little drum opening and a riff with as much movement as the drums. It reminds me of Earthless and Opeth. I give this album a 7. Lots of cool riffs and solos. Very well produced, but the band seems to have a formula and they stick to that formula, making the album as a whole seem very repetitive, and I think they'd be better off in small doses. And then, last but not least, is it going to be a killer album? We'll let you know right now. It's from a band called Avmakt. The satanic inversion of Avmakt. Came out in August 24. Out on Peaceville Records. Nothing cool about the band. I describe this album as true Norwegian black metal. And I don't even know where they're from. Straight away, the opening track, Ordnance, starts off dark and heavy with crappy sounding guitars covered in fuzz and power chords. Unmatched in its simplicity, it's true Norwegian black metal. The production is bad at being bad, with the drums actually sounding pretty good. The snare sounds like a trash can, and the kick is a solid thud. The guitars are saturated and high gain, indulging those high frequencies that are usually removed. Think a metal zone out of a crappy amp doubled by some decent sounding guitars. Burzum and Darkthrone would be proud. Poison Reveal stays true to their sound, not straying far from power chords and the Lucifer's raspy smoker's cough. Nothing changes musically, rhythmically, or melodically between songs. They just change tempo here and there. Charge is the first song I've heard that they play a riff with single notes instead of power chords. Reminds me of Darkthrone. In a general sense, this album gets a 5, maybe a 6, but in terms of true Norwegian black metal, this album is a 10. So, give these albums a listen. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me or disagree? Argue with me in the comments. I won't read it. And I'll catch you guys next time.